Welcome to the war for the planet of the Apes. Now I only watched bits and pieces of the first two movies, or is it three? I don't know, doesn't matter, because I think I remember enough to do this. Plus this one starts with some boring reading to give us a refresher on the previous movies. So humans experimented on apes and made them really smart. The apes and humans fought each other and the apes kind of took over the world, and humanity got a deadly virus called the Simian virus, like the guy from GTA 5. That virus almost wiped them out completely, on top of having to fight the apes, who are led by Caesar, who actually wants peace, but this other ape Koba wanted the opposite of that, and he's the reason why there's a war going on between them in the first place, or continues to go on, something like that, one of these two. And he got killed by Caesar for being such a dick. We joined in with one of the last US Army units sent by this asshole colonel to go find Caesar and his stronghold he made in the woods and kill him and all the other apes, but the parties killed Caesar. So after some searching, they find some apes on horses and the stronghold castle itself start attacking them with the help of their own apes they call donkeys and treat like slaves. Lots of monkeys die in the process, but they retaliate and rain down a storm of arrows onto the army unit. Ironically, one of the only human survivors is a guy with a crossbow. They take him and other human survivors and the gorilla that survived as prisoners. Caesar goes up to them, and if I remember correctly, he's like patient zero of ape experimentation, where he took most of the make monkey smart juice and he gained the ability to speech. Fucking grammar. He gained the ability to speak, and that's how he talks to them. The rest just communicate using sign language. So he fist bumps the guards and starts to talk to the prisoners, telling them that he did not start this war. The ape that did was called Koba, and he's dead now. He killed him for that. And he himself wants peace. He only fights to protect apes, except for that type of traitor ape that used to be on Koba's side and is now on the human side because they got guns and shit. This donkey gorilla on the human side also gained the ability to speak, and tells them that this new colonel they got is the shit. And they all look at him like crazy, and he's gonna kill all apes, but he promised to spare the ones that switch sides. So they knock him out to shut him up, and the albino gorilla takes him away as prisoner. While they tie up the rest of the surviving humans on horses and send them off with a message saying that if they leave the apes, the woods of the killings will stop. Then at the same moment, the traitor gorilla escapes, but fuck it, they don't care. They just go out to have group therapy session at a fucking waterfall. When Caesar's son comes back from an expedition with his dark-skinned monkey friend called Rocket, they reunite with his family. The kid sees his new baby brother and his girlfriend called Lake. They all have a group meeting, and his son says they found a new safe place for them to go where the humans can't find them and they can live peacefully, because their hiding place in the woods now is kind of busted. The humans found them and shit, but they can't go immediately, although albino gorilla really wants to do that because they can't move all these masses of apes at the same time without being detected. So they opt to stay in the woods a bit longer to find a route or plan a way to get all these monkeys out safely. So they all go to sleep in nearby cave systems that are safe, and they're like their living quarters. Caesar can't sleep in his luxury suite directly behind the waterfalls like a Easter egg in a video game, and he notices green lasers shining through the waterfall. And after further inspection, he sees ropes that humans are using to rappel down to do a sneak attack. So he silently goes away and gets some guards to sneak attack their sneak attack. Now I ain't no army dude or anything, but I just think that this seems ballistically retarded to use lasers in a stealth mission, because it's just gonna give away your position. At least turn them off when you're approaching, you fucking twats. Whatever. The monkeys attack the humans, infiltrating their cave systems with their flashlights and shitty lasers on, revealing the position completely to them. Night vision goggles, come on. If you have that tactical gear, you must have night vision goggles. Anyway, they hear on the comms devices of this one dead guy that the colonel himself is here, saying King Kong is dead, let's get out of here. So Caesar rushes back to his luxury suite to find the colonel just about to leave, and that he just killed his whole family, mistaking his son for him. He opens fire on the apes trying to come for him, then jumps to the waterfall, and Caesar jumps right after him onto the rope. Full of rage, but the colonel just cuts the rope, and Caesar drops into the water but survives. Goes back to the cave super depresso espresso, then finds out that his little son Cornelius survived, and he's pretty happy about that. Next day, the whole ape gang prepares to do a forced evacuation of the woods and make the super long journey to this new safe place that they found. Caesar tells Lake to take care of his only son now. He's like, here, take care of my son with a corny ass name, I'll go do revenge. He's not coming with them because he has vengeance on his mind. He wants to go find and kill the colonel for murdering his family. His most trusted compatriots refuse to let him go alone on the suicide mission and join him. These apes are Luca, the gorilla, Rocket, the dark-skinned normal monkey, and this orangutan, I forgot the name of. No, wait, it's Maurice. Where are the New York Giants, Mauricio? And so they all set off to go find the colonel, while the rest of the ape gang colony herd thing go off to find a safe place. Ain't no way your horse is supporting the weight of a fully grown gorilla. Its back should snap like a singular strand of spaghetti. And a quick Google search supports this assessment, by the way. Whatever though, after passing by some very obvious product placement, they get to some dilapidated buildings where they saw smoke coming from and find a deserted soldier, kill him, then find out that the soldier was protecting a little girl. The orange monkey quickly develops a soft spot for her and finds out that she has lost the ability to speak, and once they loot the place and decide to leave, Maurice tells Caesar that they need to take the girl with them or else she'll die if left alone like this. He reluctantly agrees, and they keep on riding and searching on a beach now until they find, I think the correct word here is encampment of human soldiers. So they scope it out and find out that the albino gorilla who ran away from the ape caves the night of the human sneak attack is now with them. He's one of their donkey slave apes now, so they sneak into the camp and sneak up on the albino. He is shooketh by their presence and starts spilling a bunch of info to them, like that he betrayed them because the gorilla donkey they got from earlier promised him that the colonel would grant him mercy if he leaked the whereabouts of Caesar. Plus the colonel left this encampment earlier to go up north into a border control checkpoint thing, and the rest of this encampment is going to move over there tomorrow. Then some more soldiers are going to come down from the north to meet him there. I believe these two clumps of soldiers meeting together is the last of the US Army. The albino thinks that they're gearing up to make one final push to take out all apes for good. Then Caesar's like, my family's dead, bitch, and it's your fault, pussy. So they punch him and choke him out in a quiet manner before he can call for human help. help. Did they get rid of his body afterwards so the humans wouldn't be suspicious? Actually, a big albino gorilla that you just recruited going missing is kind of suspicious, but maybe they would just think that he ran away. Doesn't matter. They camp in some woods nearby. Caesar dreams of Koba at night, then he wakes up with the humans leaving, so they follow them directly behind them. Can't you follow an angle in the woods so the woods sort of give you cover, camouflage you, make it harder to see and shit, so that if someone from the human side looks back, they don't see you? And B, no one from the human side looks back. What the fuck? You don't even have to turn your heads. They're all riding in Humvees that have mirrors, and no one even fucking glances at them. This is exceedingly retarded from both sides. Whatever, they keep following them undetected until they go up north into some mountainy, snowy area, where the humans stop to execute 3 of their own men, which Caesar goes to inspect after they start moving again, and finds out that one of them is still barely alive, but can't speak just like the little girl. So they finish the job and put him out of his misery, then climb a cell tower to see if they can spot where the rest of the humans went, because they know they're going to a border checkpoint thing, but they don't know where it is. And while they're out there looking around, some dude walks up to their horses and starts stealing their shit. Luca spots them, and instead of dropping down and using the element of surprise to catch this guy, he yells out, which alerts the fucking dude, so he hops on one of their horses and starts running away. They drop down, hop on their horses, and start running after him. They follow him all the way back to this rundown hotel lodge place where rich people go to like hang out in the Alps or whatever. Side note, you know how you can tell someone is rich if they ask you dumb questions like, have you ever been on a ski holiday? No, Chet, I haven't been on a fucking ski holiday. Good holiday for me is not getting beat up on the weekend, bitch. Anyway, they walk into this snowed-in place and find this unknown stranger hiding in the fireplace. They approach and he throws out the gun and surrender, then waddles out face down, ass up, just how I like him, and reveals himself to be an ape just like them. Evolved enough to talk but doesn't know sign language. Speaking of not knowing sign language, there's lots of moments when Maurice and Rocket are talking to fucking Caesar Ape and signing behind his back and shit, and he can still understand them. Like, check this out. In this scene, he's literally looking through binoculars, fucking ape friend is signing to him, and he still responds understanding fully what he said. How the fuck does he do that? Did he evolve eyes in his ears? Can he fucking hear sign language? Whatever, doesn't matter. Back to the mystery ape. He's from a different zoo than them, so they don't recognize him, and everybody from his zoo died except for him, and now he lives here alone. Turns out to be a very kind ape who's kind of got a touch of the tisms, you know? Speaks jittery, collects a bunch of random shit, and it's kind of wacko, but he's friendly as fuck and welcomes them to stay over and shares military ration packs of food with them. They all say that they came from a border facility, so Caesar inquires about the origin of these packs. He says he stole them from what he describes as a human zoo where lots of sick humans were kept and eventually killed by other humans. Caesar thinks this is where the evil colonel might be and asks Rhythm with the Tism ape to take him there, but he refuses because it's full of bad human soldier people. Doesn't want them to go either and begs them to stay, even offering the little girl one of his most prized possessions to stay, a Chevy Nova badge. Then at night, everyone but Caesar and Wacko Ape are asleep. They get to talking about the little girl. Bald Ape, who had kids of his own, finds out that Caesar's son got killed by the bad soldier humans, and he thinks that he might find him at the border, so the monkey goes, okay, I take you to human zoo. Next morning, Luca puts a flower in the little girl's hair, and Loner Tism Monkey comes out in a fit and a half, baby. Damn, forget about Tism Ape. He got the drip. From now on, he's Drip Ape. He's Drape. Drape. They all start making their way to this border/human zoo. By the way, how are these apes not affected by the cold? I'm gonna assume that they are like super in the heat of the moment and that's keeping them warm, you know what I mean? Or maybe they super evolved by all the human experiments to be able to withstand this type of cold, but then Drape wouldn't have to be wearing, you know what, whatever. Drape leads them over to the human zoo. Caesar and Luca inspect it in a closer look and kill 2 guards on patrol who saw them but did not contact any of the rest of the humans and report this to them like dumbasses, whatever. In the process, Luca gets stabbed by this knife thingy attachment on the end of his gun and dies. Very sad shit. Rest in peace, Harambe. The rest of them tell Caesar it's not too late to go back and join the rest, telling them that he's letting his heart be consumed by rage and anger and whatever, like Koba. He's like, okay, that's a low blow. I shouldn't let you guys come with me. I'm going in there alone. You guys can catch up with others. But as he soon finds out as he goes down there, seeing a bunch of crucified apes, but like on X's, so Xified apes, then he sees his whole herd imprisoned down there, so they can't exactly go catch up to anybody. Now, can they? Because this colony was found by pure accident traveling along by the colonel. I don't know how the fuck that is. The humans were traveling north and the monkeys presumably were not, because they're going to a place with sand and then it's not cold, but maybe their paths crossed because the humans are not taking a direct straight path to the north, like border place, and they went a little bit east to avoid a mountain or a lake or some shit. I don't fucking know. I just find it highly unlikely. Anyway, the colonel found them, brought them over here somehow, locked them up, and started working them like slaves to do some shit that as of yet is unknown because Caesar got all this information from a crucified ape that was still barely alive. He untied him, he told him all this stuff, and died before he could tell him anything else. Then the traitor gorilla from earlier pops up behind him, knocks him out, and takes him in to see the colonel. He's being held back by that same traitor gorilla, and the crossbow dude they let go on the horse. Caesar's like, I'm here to kill you. I know more soldiers are coming from the north to finish off all apes. The colonel's like, interesting. Isn't it funny that colonel is one of the only words that we say in a Chinese accent? There's an L in there. It's colonel, but we say colonel. Anyway, that's off point. He takes Caesar away and imprisons him with the rest of his brethren. They have the adult apes separated from the children. He sees his little boy, and I really feel like this is another Smurfs in a cage situation, meaning that they can easily slip through between the bars. Maybe not if their heads are too fat. It's not like it's gonna do any good right now, but still. Most of the kids can probably squeeze between the bars and escape, just saying. Anyway, they chain Scissors up to the rest of the tired apes, and next morning, the human soldiers force the apes to work on building a wall for them. While doing that work, they tell Caesar that they haven't gotten any food or water since they got here, and they're being worked to the bone. Then an orangutan goofs some part of the building process, and a pillar falls down. He falls with it and fucks up some shit. The colonel orders his donkeys to whip him. Caesar sees this and yells out for them to leave him alone. So the colonel brings Caesar himself over to get whipped. This is now literal slavery. He tells Caesar to order his apes to get back to work, but he refuses, saying that they need food and water to continue. So the colonel pulls out a gun and kills the orangutan, then points the gun at his head, tells him to order them to work or else he'll kill him in 5, 4, keeps counting down. Really slow. Caesar's still refusing to order anybody to do anything, but the apes see that and start getting back to work on their own to try and save him from getting shot, and that works. He remains alive. Then that night they tie Caesar up to an X. Then gorilla donkey takes him up to see the colonel. It is at this point that they talk a lot and give out a shit ton of exposition that I will try and get through as fast as possible right now to save on time. First, Caesar tells him that the apes need food and water to complete the wall for him in time, because he figured that the rest of the humans coming down from the north are not coming to help him, they're coming to fight him because he's a dickhead that kills his own men. So Woody Haraldsson goes, "Good job, clever ape," and explains that the virus that every human survivor still carries and almost wiped out humanity has now mutated and there's a new strand of it, and anybody infected by this strand loses the ability to speak and becomes more feral and less human, according to him. And he feared to continue to make them more primitive and more like apes, basically, so he killed anyone who was infected by it and burned all their shit to stop the virus from spreading. He even killed his own son that was infected by this new strand. His superiors, however, argued that they could cure these people. He disagreed, obviously, and took anybody who followed his logic with him over to this border that have lots of weapons hidden in the mountains that he's going to use to defend himself from the rest of the army that is coming to kill him for being such a and he needs that wall built ASAP for extra defense. Meanwhile, outside, Luca and Maurice want to make a plan to go inside and save them. Ironically, Drape, the one that's most afraid of going in, drops through the floor behind some rocks right in front of the entrance and finds a secret tunnel that leads underneath the border facility that was clearly used by old sick humans to flee the quarantine. They spend the next day exploring it and find out that they can dig up in certain spots, while up top, Caesar's literally becoming ape Jesus because they bring the other apes food and water and they thank him for saving their lives, while he gets cold water dumped on him, literally getting tortured on the cross. We get it, guys, we get the symbolism, the point has come across. He then gets taken off that X and shoved into his own private cage. The girl sees all this and decides to simply walk in. Nobody, literally nobody notices this. Just fucking look at the scene. How? These bitches have such horrible security homes. Not only is she able to walk in undetected, she walks up to Caesar's cage, gives him her little doll, then finds a bucket of water and gives him some to drink, then walks across to the other cage full of apes. They hand her some seed food stuff that they kept for later, and she walks back to the cage that Caesar's in, gives him that shit, has a cute little ape together strong moment with him, all undetected, brother. How? Eventually, a patrol that includes the colonel himself starts walking past, so Caesar tells us to go hide while Rocket makes a distraction walking in and doing monkey business so she can escape. He gets beat up a bit, then thrown into the pen with the rest of the apes. Then he signs to Caesar, "Great, now we can plan our escape." Next day, the colonel takes him out to put him to work and finds a doll in his cage, and he's like, "The fuck's this?" No one answers him, so he just keeps the doll and moves on. Puts all the apes to work, and while they're doing that, they measure how many steps it takes from like a certain spot to the middle of the adult cage, and the same for the children's cage, but it's all relative to the secret sewage escape tunnels underneath. Caesar signs this information over to Maurice so they can count the steps underneath and start digging up into the adult cage. And when they do that, Maurice forces Drape to go up and take a look, although he really doesn't want to. He keeps going, "Oh no, no, no," and that's where the meme comes from. The more you know. He eventually does it, and it turns out that the hole was dug right next to a guard that was standing there that somehow did not feel the earth move beneath his feet or fall into the hole and make it wider because of his weight and shit. Whatever, he eventually leaves, and they try and do the same for the kids' side, but unfortunately that is not to be because that side of the tunnel starts getting flooded. Fortunately though, they can close that portion off from the rest of the tunnels with a hatch, but now they have to deviate and come up with another plan to save the kids. So that genius new plan is to throw shit at the tower guard watching over them, make him angry enough to come down and point guns at them, lure him, slash maneuver him over the hole, and have Maurice suck him down, knock him out, and throw the keys and his weapon out for them to use, free each other, and go over to the kids' pen, free them, and somehow get up to this like high vantage point spot where there's a very convenient rope going right over the adult pen that they use to go over there and drop down and then go into the hole, travel through the tunnel and make it out on the other end with Drape, sending them across into the woods to Maurice to safety in batches to avoid detection from the guards and their big searchlights. Just send them across whenever they come up, dude. Their security is so fucking garbage, they don't notice any of the rapidly emptying ape pens or the noises the apes were doing, or get suspicious from the yell the guard made that had shit thrown at him. Even if they're currently more focused on looking out for the humans that are coming to attack them, this is still trash tier level security. These other humans that I will call Arctic Camo humans do arrive in choppers and start attacking him, so the border dickheads start launching missiles at them. The fight between them starts right as the last ape enters the tunnels, and Caesar opts to stay and continue his vengeful mission and go kill the colonel that has locked himself up in his living quarters. He goes up there and finds him drunk, bleeding from his nose, unable to speak. He ironically got the virus from the girl's doll and clearly wants Caesar to shoot him in the head, but Monkey no do that because either he forgave him and doesn't want to be consumed by hate like Koba, or he doesn't want to give him the satisfaction, or he wants him to kill himself because Lul the irony. I'm gonna go with the last option because he leaves him the gun and the colonel takes it and kills himself. This is all happening while the border dickheads are still fending off an attack, so Caesar takes this belt of grenades and jumps down from the colonel's army penthouse. Gorilla Donkey's helping the border cocksuckers with the defense, but also sees them lighting up the apes that are trying to make an escape because now they're caught in the crossfire between both these human groups and they have to make a move. The border retards obviously realize that they're trying to escape, so they're trying to light them up. Then while fetching a grenade launcher, sees Caesar trying to run up and blow up a gas tanker, but then gets hit by crossbow dude, and demoing Big Gorilla has a change of heart and Noob Tube's crossbow guy, which gets him executed via shot in the head. Then Caesar is able to blow up the tanker while getting attacked himself, and that explosion somehow conveniently starts a chain reaction that blows up the colonel's precious wall. Then another tanker catches fire and blows up the whole facility this time while he jumps down into the great escape tunnels, pops out the other end and sees the Arctic Camo human ground troops arrive and realize that they've won, then stands up in full view of them. I don't know what the fuck the logic behind this move was. Just stay down, you monkeyless brained retard. Whatever, they do notice him, but it doesn't really matter because they don't have time to do anything about it because an avalanche starts happening. They start trying to run away. He runs over to the woods and climbs a bunch of trees, ends up as far as he can possibly go on this one, holds on for dear life trying to survive this avalanche, and he does. The tree just leans over like the Leaning Tower of Pizza, finds out that the rest of his herd did the same thing everything and they all survived. While according to the beginning of this film, what remains of the US Army got buried in snow and presumably all died. The herd of apes then trek across the Great Plains of California and get to that place that Caesar Hell's dead son said would be bueno for them and far away from humans. They look like they fucking multiplied on the way over here. I swear it looked like there was much less of them before. Anyway, they get to that safe place with a big lake and shit. Caesar starts to feel the effects of his arrow wound. Maurice tells him it's okay, his son will know who he was and what he did for them. And he's like, rest in peace, my sweet prince. Caesar then succumbs to his wounds, leans over and dies. This movie gets 10 beer kegs out of 18 violins.